So, Fred, great to have you. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Turley of Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. We are going to delve deep into the mind of a man named Fred. That sounds so generic, doesn't it? But Fred Copestake is an awesome individual. He's got a lot of opinions and probably pisses a lot of people off, but he's got a damn good reason to do so because this man knows what he's talking about. So today we're going to be talking about a few different things, and that would include sarcastically kind of bagging on the sales industry, but really it's going to be challenges of modern selling. Busy, old world, muddled mindset. That's what you told me, and that's what I'm saying. So I would like you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit more about what that means to you.
Sure. Yeah. So it's Fred Copestake. You got the pronunciation correct, which always disappoints me because I like to correct people on that. Yeah. Well, it's far more fun when I'm a chopstick or cupcake or soap flake or something like that.
It's almost like I practiced beforehand.
God. No, you got it bang on. So I'm founder of Brindis, a sales training company based here in the UK. But I mean, really, over the last 22 years, I've been around the world 14 times, worked in 36 countries, probably trained now over 10,000 salespeople. And it's by doing that and having that exposure to that number of people and that number of different types of sale and sales process that I thought, well, let me pull together the stuff that really works now, because people are doing a lot of kind of old-fashioned things, and I put those into my book, Selling Through Partnering Skills. So like I say, it captures what I believe is the way that people need to operate today. How we can collaborate more. Collaboration is where sales is at the moment. That's my opinion on it. Doesn't mean we throw away some of the old stuff, but we do keep some of the good stuff. Some stuff we totally kick into touch. It's hopeless. It's terrible. It's embarrassing to even think about using it. And yeah, that's kind of how I operate now, because I've seen those three sales challenges that you outlined.
Sure. So, that sounds great. And so out of those challenges that have been outlined, which one would you say is the most impactful to destroying the process?
I think it's difficult to pull them out. I mean, they do kind of interact, come together. So if I go through those in a little bit more detail, busy. You've seen it, I've seen it, people listening will have seen it and probably experience it. It's where we're running around doing lots and lots of hard work. I mean, it's really industrious, nose to grindstone. We're doing all the stuff, but the stuff we're doing isn't effective. It's pointless. And because it's not working, we do more of it. We kind of turn up the pressure
on
ourselves.
Try the same thing over and over again a million times and hope it works the next time. That is definition insanity, and that's what every company's doing. Oh, shit, didn't work. What was the return? $0. All right, let's do it again, but a slightly differently this time, but the same thing, really.
But we get busier and busier. You just do more of it. And look, you can laugh at it a bit. It's insane. However, it's tiring, but it's also very stressful. I mean, yeah, tiring, wasteful, and the rest of it, but stressful on people. And that's
just imagine living every day of your life, Fred, doing something that will not work. I mean,
and then being told to do that and knowing it's not going to work. I mean, in some ways, if you're in blissful ignorance, that's not so bad. But if you kind of know that actually what we're going to do ain't going to work, busy, but I've got to be busy. I've got to run around, down the rabbit hole. I'm like the Mad Hatter, going, oh, I've got so much stuff to do. Like, well, just calm down, slow down. And the reason I say I want to go through all three is because it is linked to Olde Worlde. Now, Olde Worlde is using old-fashioned sales techniques. It's using stuff that just doesn't work anymore. There's stuff that probably was best practice and it made sense at the time, but now it's just ridiculous.
You can fill multiple textbooks with shit that doesn't work anymore.
It was great. It was brilliant. And actually, even with a little tweak, it could still be pretty good. But you're doing lots of this stuff. You're really busy rushing around doing things which are just old-fashioned. Again, you can laugh at it, but then if you say, hang on a minute, we're stressing people, and actually we're probably doing quite a lot of damage to customer relationships, because the things we're doing, they're just going, hang on, you're just taking the mickey here, it's just stupid. And, I think that then all contributes to this muddled mindset. However, the muddled mindset, I think sales leaders have got to take responsibility for. And this is this thing where you say to salespeople, we're consultative salespeople. We sell solutions, value, customer value, outcomes, results, all the good stuff. And we go, yes, that's what we do. And off we go. And we spend, first part of the month doing all that. Excellent. And then we get to the 28th and it's like, right, stop all that. Go out and sell all this crap. and you've moved totally transactionally because you're chasing this kind of arbitrary this target. And so the poor salesperson, it's like, well, what am I? Do I concentrate on solutions because that takes longer to sell and that's harder and I've got to meet more people, or do I just bang the phones and discount stuff? And it's incredibly confusing for them. I used to think it was confusing for customers, but I'm not sure it is. I think they know what's going on. People are buying regularly and they're like,
of course they do, because what are they doing?
I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you. Not going to talk to you. Oh, 27th. Right. Let's start opening up lines of communication because it's discount time.
They do know. They do know. Not only that, just discounts. So they know that there's a push at that time and place because they're also selling things. They understand, and when you start pushing at them, they have an understanding, but it's not that great. There are ways around that. So buyer safety and buyer centric selling is such an important thing. And by jamming it down their throat at the end of the month, that is not buyer centric. That is not something that is intended to help them. It's intended to help you, and it's to drive revenue. And a lot of relationships will get destroyed in the process, or people will feel like they're used, or people will feel like they're being forced. And no one wants to be forced. One of the most important things in any sale is to give them the opening, a big, wide back door just to back out. And them having the peace of mind, lacking the pressure, because they get enough of it already, that they don't have to do this. That's when you really know that they are tied to the value, and also try to push back the deadline. Instead of them saying, well, I'm not sure. It's like, okay, we'll push it back. You're not ready yet. Let's give it 2 months. And if they fight for the earlier deadline, that's how you really know that they are committed, because you just gave them an opportunity to just walk out or to push it back 2 months to get it out of their mindset. And they want to do it in 2 weeks. They want to, maybe even in a week if they free up sooner. So that's a great way to qualify and disqualify and keep yourself from chasing something that you're never going to get.
And what you've just said, 100% agree with. But if you've got an oldie worldy mindset and you're listening to this, they will think that we're a pair of lunatics. What? You're trying to not get the deal now. You're letting customers go away. You're not pushing, trying to get the business.
Right.
Absolutely. You heard that correct. That is not what we're doing. We're not pushing to get the business. Doesn't mean we don't want the business. Doesn't mean we probably won't get it. And actually, we probably will because of how we go about winning it.
People like that, I ask them this. Do you know what the buyer's journey is? Oh, so isn't the buyer's journey the journey that the potential client takes to buy from you? And that's how you sell. You're moving with the buyer's journey, and you're selling them in a certain way to try to achieve that deal to increase revenue. Well, it's called the buyer's journey. It belongs to them. It should be at their terms. It should be at their comfort level. They should be driving the deal, not you. You should be guiding them, not driving them. They drive the deal. They go wherever they like. They could say whatever they like. They could talk about whatever they like. You just guide them to the finish, and you help them solve the problem along the way. That's that. So people are not considering the buyer's journey. It's called that for a reason. And if you're not following the buyer's journey, they feel forced, they feel pressured, and they feel like they're making a bad decision because it's no longer their decision.
See, I agree, but you're going to get a little bit pushback on this, in that I think salespeople should lead. Now, you're going, hang on, Fred, you've just slagged off Olde Worlde. Now, let me explain lead. Lead from the point of view of servant leader.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So this is more of a guide, someone who's there to help. Because actually, it could be, yeah, I'm going to follow the buyer's journey. Problem is, buyer doesn't know what their journey is. Buyer's never bought this before. It's probably the only time they're ever going to buy this stuff. They don't know how to. I'm more expert in this purchase. So actually, my job is to take them, as you say, safely through. This is typically what we're going to have to do.
Yep.
And it's
telling
not,
them what to do next is so important because they don't know what to do next. But at the same time, it's about establishing that comfort and asking permission the whole way.
Agreed. I totally agree. And that's collaborative. And it's not doing the stupid stuff like, I'll tell you what, Rob, let's pretend that procurement aren't going to get involved in this. They are. Rob, procurement probably going to get involved in this. Do you know who they are? No. Right. We need to find out in your company who they are. Yeah. We're going to have to go to them and we're going to have to explain the stuff they want. Do you know what they will want? No. Well, I will tell you probably what they want, because normally when I'm dealing with somebody like you, they'll want this stuff. That's totally different. Now then, you think, yeah, Fred's got my back here. Fred's helping me. I'm helping myself. Of course I am, because I'll get the sale. But you're thinking, this guy knows what he's on with. He's not forcing me. He's guiding me. He's helping me. We're not doing that stupid, So, I think we're violently agreeing, actually.
Have the potential new client coach you. So that's a good way to approach. I would like to coach you on our product to make sure that you are kept protected and safe, Of course.
Yep.
So, like, if the whole thing goes tits up and you're talking to your boss, they don't want it, then guess what? You could just blame it all on me. That's it. I'll take all the heat and it's fine. And then you look like the hero coming out on top because, you're not the one who created the problem. So I'll take all the hit on it. But I'll tell you what, I will coach you on how to pitch this to your boss. So let's go over that conversation. And I would love you to coach me to talk about your boss and procurement so that you can coach me on what kind of people they are and how I should be speaking to them. So, we can coach one another to make sure this happens the right way. And you could thank Marcus Kauke for training that one.
Yeah. Interdependence. Marcus is all over biosafety. We both know him really well, and I love listening to him about this. And so what I do when I talk about collaboration, it's easy to say actually. Oh, be more collaborative. Yes, collaborative selling. That's the way it goes.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Being more collaborative and collaborating are two very different things.
They are. I think one's the mindset that you've got to instill in yourself to be. This is how I operate, and it is my ethos. It's what guides me. It's what drives me. It's how I do things, and then collaborating are the things that we say and do at a given point. And the stuff I use to try to get the mindset right, or help people get the mindset right, is a thing called partnering intelligence, partnering skills. So PQ. Now I know 2 weeks ago you had Justin on, didn't you, with TQ?
TQ. I got a 165, baby. Perfect score. Super genius.
So you've got good TQ. What about your PQ? I will give you a little test to take afterwards, a little self-audit thing. But basically what PQ, partnering skills, measures are the skills that somebody who's good at partnering will have. And I believe every salesperson, whatever you're selling, needs these because this is your guiding ethos. So it's not just that you are in channel, that you're a partner manager, and God knows these guys need a lot of it. But it could be even if you're selling a car, a used car. If your ethos is a partnership, you're not going into a partnership with that customer. But if you use these things, the way you operate will be better. And so a guy called Steve Dent did research on this stuff. I've not made it up. He did it back in the late 80s, early 90s, when the big organizations were doing these kind of alliances and stuff. Imagine the airlines coming together, and they obviously want to do it more effectively. So they got him to do the research to find out how can we as organizations be more allianced and everything else. Anyway, cut long story short, he came back after all his work and said, organizations don't partner, people do.
Whoa. Look at that. That's like the greatest realization in sales history in forever. It was forever ago, but holy shit, people buy from people they like, trust, and can relate to. No two accounts do business. Two buildings don't just rub up against each other.
Buildings merge together.
Shit? All right, cool. Let's go for it. And then no one's involved. It's like it's insanity.
It's cool, isn't it? Like two transformers sort of bonded together. So no, it's people do. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Okay, well, how do we do that? He said, well, okay, I've looked at the skills, I've codified them, and then he's gone off and then through universities they validated, verified. So it's like a gone through the sort of the due diligence, if you like, and the 6 elements to it. And when you think about it, just think about them from any sales point of view. First thing, trust. Right. Okay. Do we even need to discuss that? Of course you need to trust. You just said it. You've just said it.
Rapport before they even allow you to start building trust.
Okay. So no, sorry, I should have explained. I'm just going to take you through the 6 elements. They are interrelated. I can only speak through them sequentially, but so I just go through, and I always start when I'm talking about this as trust as being one of the elements. The ways to build it, we can have several podcasts on this.
Oh yeah.
But that's one of the
10. Yeah.
Easy. That's one of the elements of partnering skills. Another one is a win-win focus.
Wow. When they say negotiation means no parties win, actually, that's a fallacy. A good negotiation means that both parties win. Sure, there may be some sacrifice, but it's not sacrifice. It's just taking risk. Sacrifice is bad because you lose something without any potential gain. Risk is good because you're taking a risk to get more potential gain. So it's about that win-win, and there can be a win-win scenario, even if you're partnering with competitors.
Of course, can. And it's about the focus. It's about having the conversation to try and establish that mutual benefit, and the way you have the conversation. Defining it, understanding our expectations, what it looks like. Again, if you're doing that as a salesperson, and by the way, a lot of salespeople forget their own win because they give everything away, and it's like, oh, it's great, what a good deal. Well, it isn't because you didn't make any money on it. Customers happy? Bet they are. Are they going to be happy in a year's time when you say you don't want to deal with them anymore? So win-win. You've really got to be clear on that. So we've got trust. We've got win-win. Interdependence. That's what you were talking about earlier. You know, what your success is going to contribute to my success and vice versa.
What
And
a
actually,
concept.
my team, oh, this stuff ain't new, but it's the application of it, you know? But also, I like to take this into, well, my success, I need my team to be successful, my backup, my business have got to be supporting me. Your success, your business, we've really got to bring this stuff together. And as we're getting into bigger, more complex and more enterprise type sales, of course, it makes sense.
Yes, and it's all about the logistics too. I mean, I'm not even talking about with logistics companies or warehouses or shipping companies, whatever. It's just that the logistics of the whole thing, company wide, it needs to work. There needs to be an upfront contract built throughout the entire corporation that you're working with, and how is it going to affect everything? So it's a game plan saying, okay, we're working with this division, but it's going to affect these people, those people, those people. How do
It's,
we need to cater to them as as a result of the outcomes that we're getting? How is it going to affect them, and how can they be serviced? Do we need to prepare for something else? Do I need to bring in a partner to service that area once it gets there, and so on? Because it can create other problems when you're fixing another one.
yeah, and you don't get one of the tiny little cogs right, and the whole thing isn't working. So, you know, the interdependence, it gives us that great focus. Next thing that we look at is transparency. So in Dent's original model, he talked about self-disclosure and feedback. So transparency is shorter, but yeah, self-disclosure. I'm going to give information about myself. I can't expect you to be a mind reader and know actually what a good deal looks like. I can't expect you to know that actually we're getting close to that and I'm not happy with this and the relationship isn't working. Yeah.
That goes to
Equally,
account management too. If you're not transparent with them, if there's an issue, tell them that there's an issue before they even figure it out. You should know first as the provider before they do, unless it's some sort of like bug or something like that.
yeah, we've messed up, but we know we messed up, so we're going to tell you this. We're not going to pretend this stuff hasn't happened. So that kind of giving that side, the self-disclosure piece, I think really important, but also the feedback. Again, you know, it takes two to tango. These we're talking about this is relationships. We could be doing this on just a relationships podcast about, you know, just your personal relationship, you know, and you got to give feedback. If somebody's not, you know, if your customer isn't helping you help them, if they're not doing what their part of the deal was, if they're not kind of getting involved in the way we said we would, so we can get this mutual benefit, we've got to feed back to them. We can't be the whole kind of, oh no, you can't say that to the customer. Oh no, you can't. No, absolutely. We're equals, we're peers, you know, similar stature, and you know, we're grown ups having a conversation about how we can do something really good here. And actually, you're not doing your part as well, which you might not even realize. Might not be deliberate. It's like, oh God, I didn't. Sorry, mate. I'll help with that then.
And not having the fear to bring up that they are not doing their part. You need to speak freely. Sure,
Yeah.
they can get upset, but would you rather have someone who's upset and then an optimized process, or would you rather have someone who's happy that's screwing up the entire damn thing?
How upset are they going to be if you don't tell them that they weren't doing something right that has messed everything up? That this could have been such a good deal, but when you didn't do this, that derailed it. Why didn't you tell me that? Oh, because I was a bit. It makes no sense, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
not at all.
well, what else have we got? So, you know, we're getting some pretty good things which are driving this selling ethos that I believe helps us be more collaborative. Comfort with change. Next one. We're
Comfort with
change
change.
agents. We are change agents. Okay, it's a salesperson. So
Agents of
we've
change. I always call
we've
myself that.
well, it's a nice LinkedIn title change coming up, I think. But no, if you think about it, you know, status quo is our biggest competitor anyway. We are
Oh
trying to
my
get people
God,
to
yes.
change.
The best sales, the top salespeople out there, all of them will kindly agree with one another. They may disagree on everything else, but they all agree on status quo is the greatest enemy, the greatest competitor.
Yeah, do nothing. So we are encouraging people to change. We've got to understand more about change. You know, we've got to experience it. We've got to know how to manage it ourselves, be comfortable with ourselves to be able to talk, I don't know, with any kind of credibility about it to our customers. You know, recognizing, you know, change curves. People go through stuff at different speeds. They appreciate, they have different emotions. They will just do things in different ways. You know, some might be slower. They might be less receptive to change than you might be. You might more initiate. You might love it. So it's again recognizing that and helping people through that process puts you in a different position. So again, I think it just helps you in this collaborative mindset.
Yeah, I mean, and change management is such a growing field right now. I'm surprised it wasn't a field for longer, but it's kind of absurd. The larger the company, the less likely they are to change because there's so much red tape. But that's why they always fall behind, or they have issues. They have to buy their innovation because they can't make a fucking decision. That's it. They can't make a decision. it's like I saw this. So I was at this keynote, and I forget whose keynote it was. It was after my keynote that I gave, and it was talking about change management, how that's an issue with decision making within enterprises, where it was just all it was a what do they call those things where you hit the sides and it's like the ball slides up.
Pinball
A
thing.
pinball, thank you. Yeah, it's like a pinball
Yeah,
machine, and every little aspect of it was a different part. Like, so procurement was one of them, and then the bats at the bottom. So if it goes through the hole, that's ideal because it
yeah.
launches and then it keeps getting hit back up and hitting all the things, bouncing around. So it goes through to like the sales division, then the marketing division. The marketing division doesn't like it, so it goes back to sales, and then sales pushes it up further than them, and then it goes up to procurement. Procurement says yes, and then it has to go to the operations, and operations says yes, but what does marketing say? But they said no. Okay, let's ask business development. Bouncing all over the place, and then finally it has to go through legal, and those are the bats at the bottom. Legal's just popping it back up. Nope, denied. So it was the funniest thing I've seen, but it is so damn true. It is just chaos. It's utter chaos to make one simple decision. Why do the biggest innovators in the world, someone like Elon Musk, someone like Steve Jobs, why were they able to get so far and do so much? Because they were able to make decisions quickly, smart decisions quickly. It's not about, oh, well, what about this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. If it's a mistake, learn from it, move on. And being able to pivot quickly, being able to move quickly, being able to make changes quickly is so key. And most people, when they get out of the entrepreneurial startup side of things and they start getting comfortable, all that goes out the window. And that's when it all starts going downhill. And that's when the customer falls by the wayside as just a forgotten piece of garbage, because all they care about is the shareholder value. They just care about how much money is flowing into the company, and everything else that they valued, that they innovated for, that they believed in goes directly out the window. And it's all because the people part of the process has been forgotten.
But yeah, and again, if you look at any kind of change management, so the simplest thing I would talk about would be the Kubler-Ross change curve. It's about people, it's about emotion. Change happens. You feel, you probably deny it to start with. Or you will deny it. You go through these, you deny it. Then you feel angry. Then you start to accept it. Then you start to actually feel good about it and adopt it. That's what happens. We all do it. Very similar to grief, actually. It goes through it. We all go through these things. People, emotions, right? Go into Cotter. Cotter for me, they're the guys go to when you talk about change. Again, it's all about people, getting people on side, mobilizing people, communicating with people. Bit of change. People again. We come back to that, and we miss this point so often. One of the parts of the change process, and again, these elements of PQ all come together. So we've got this last one to talk about: future orientation. We know where we're headed. We've got a vision. We've got a goal that's shared. It's got some mutual benefit in it. It's going to need some change. If we know what that is and we make our decisions based on that, rather than oh well, that didn't used to work. Well, no, it didn't used to work because we weren't trying to A, do this, and B, everything, or many things that made it not work are now different. So let's look forward and make decisions based on that. Don't throw away all the past, but where are we going? And let's keep thinking about that. And let's get on with it. And as you say, those guys,
to Y,
we are trying to get there. And I want to be first to do it.
From X to Y by when. And it used to work is the saddest excuse in the book. The saddest, most pathetic excuse. It used to work. Well, if it used to work, how did you get it to the point where it no longer works? Did you not iterate or do anything or try to improve? Did you not try to improve a single damn thing that you were doing for the past 2 years? Like, wake up. Where have you been?
See, I don't know how to push back on this one. I go, is it used to work sadder than it didn't work before?
Oh, okay. Well,
that's
just like a whole other level of there was no bar of success. It didn't work before, but we're trying it again. Okay, that's you're nuts. You're crazy. Face it. You should not be running a company.
Yeah, it used to work. Okay, it doesn't now, or it didn't work in the past. Yes, but we've got so many more things that will make that work. It's they're both pretty sad, aren't they? We don't really need to spend valuable time trying to rank them in sadness.
Right. Ranked in sadness. You create a whole blog.
We did a sadness. What did you get up to this evening? Oh, I did a sadness ranking of stupid stuff people say.
Ranked by sadness.
So somebody asked me on a podcast, at least we're just having a chat, I can deal with these, Rob. Somebody asked me on a podcast the other day, he goes, I'm going to ask you for your 3 top tips in descending order. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I don't even understand what that means. Can I just give you 3 tips in any old order? Oh, we've got a
sorry, I
friend.
just brought a
Who's
cat
that?
on. She keeps bothering me. So this is Marble.
Oh, I didn't
But
know
the
we were
3
going to
top
have cats.
tips
I
for
should put
what?
Tilly on. I can't remember. I was getting too panicky about what was ascending, what was descending, and how was I going to order these tips.
Oh my God!
It was.
Yeah,
I
no,
think it
that's
was.
the
I
thing.
think. I think they were just for sales.
If
I
podcasts
think they're just 3
are
top tips for sales.
structured, like they have a structure to it, it follows this every single time. It becomes so unnatural. It's gross. It's kind of grainy and nasty and dry cut and really kind of choppy, and it feels artificial. It's synthetic.
You've just
And that's why
described mine.
organic podcast is the way to go, because it's a real human conversation. But it's funny because these people create these, here are the top 5 things that this person says, that person says, that person says. It's literally a cookie cutter, same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do you watch the same episode of Seinfeld every single day over and over and over again? Like, there's something wrong with you at that point. I mean, that you need a change. You need the ability to adapt. You need the ability to learn something new. And just that idea alone, watching the same episode of Seinfeld every single day, again and again for a year, think about the businesses out there. That is a perfect euphemism of that. The same sales process and quota structure that doesn't work every single day, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's why their sales team's attrition rate is like 15 to 30%. And that's why they shotgun hire salespeople. Let's say 10 of them, 6 of them maybe stick around, and then 3 of them actually stay. That's it. That's their expectation. We're just going to fire all these people anyway. May as well bring them on, waste all of our money on training, and then not do any improvement process after they've figured it out. And they try to figure out why isn't this working?
But there is some, as you say, how many times are we defining insanity on this podcast?
Seriously though, I mean, but it's crazy. It really is crazy. So I've got a question for you. Is that what is the greatest impact of some sort of change that you would bring to a business while working with them? So just pick one thing and then kind of explain about it that you've seen impact, just a simple change that has impacted a business more than anything you've ever seen.
I could be past oriented here and say, right, I've done some really funky stuff in the past. I ran an academy to help people sell beer. I mean, we did some really good things in that, and there's some good stories that probably shouldn't be broadcast. I mean, I'm going to say they definitely shouldn't be broadcast. To be fair, there's no probably about it. No, I mean, for me now, it really is about trying to open people's eyes to collaborative selling, and the stuff that we've just been talked about, and saying, look, it's all very well the things that you're doing, and actually some of them are good, and that's the way I always position it. Is that on one hand we've got things that have gone on in the past in sales, of which some are very, very good. Yeah. On the other hand, we've got this PQ. We need to bring them together. I think if I can open people's eyes to the fact that collaboration, let's just not talk about it. Salespeople love talking about stuff, and people love the concepts, and they like shiny new things. And of course, when you come to implementing it, it can be pretty tough. But when we say, right, there's that, we're going to bring them together, and this is how we bring them together. And actually, look, when we start doing these things, don't worry, you'll recognize a lot of the things that you are doing now. But we're doing it with this mindset. We're doing it for this reason, because it fits with kind of this consistent, this approach to be modern.
Right.
We've done this before. Fine, that works. We've done this before. Fine, that works. Do more of it. It's really good. We've done this before. Bin it. You can't carry on doing that. It makes no sense to do it. Sorry, we're going to have to swap this out for a new way of working. It's not consistent with the modern approach.
And better yet than that is that even the stuff that does work can always be improved on. Always. Perpetual state improvement is so important. But I forgot what I was going to say before when I almost interrupted you there. Is there was a very interesting piece about what you just said, but I'll probably remember in like 3 hours and be like, oh yeah, it was the thing, and then wait,
text me.
Yeah, that's how it
actually not in 3 hours. I'll be asleep in 3 hours.
So the top thing is that implied change. So being able to have them come, are you saying being able to have them come to an accord with not only themselves but with their business to accept the change of a process is the most impactful?
It's that sales has changed. you know, if we can get that established first, sales has changed. People can get it intellectually, but actually that then means you have to change and you need to do things differently. And you see when you're doing that you've always done and the results aren't as good anymore, you now have to do something different. Why? Because of these changes we're seeing. I have packaged it in a way that will make it accessible and easy for you to get these first steps in place to start on that. If you want to go deep, if you want to start using some of the really funky stuff, then great. And we've given a framework for you to start to think around it.
Right. And one piece, the beginning piece to this whole thing, the whole, like the keystone to this, I think personally, is that the amount of benefit and improvement that would come from just one tiny thing, it would be that if you, the seller, or the provider, I should say, if you, the provider, make it all about the buyer, so you make it all about them, that's the mindset. And then if it goes both ways, they make it
Yeah.
all about you, that's the mindset. You're already at an advantage in comparison to almost every single relationship that's out there. When you make it all about them and they also make it all about you, you're already on the top. From there, it's just it's clockwork.
Absolutely. And look, the way I'm delivering training now, it's changed because I can't get on a plane anymore. It's screwed up my air miles badly. But
Right.
no, however, what it's done is put us in this position where we're doing shorter things that we can give people a little bit of information that they can take on board, they can go and apply, they can come back, we can coach, we can then add another bit in, and we can take them on the journey. We stretch the training out. I used to spend like loads of time on the plane, and because I was spending loads of time on the plane, right, we're going to do loads and loads of training because everyone else spent loads of time on it. So we're going to do 4 days. Why? To justify the travel. It's a lot of stuff to cover. Now we can do 4 days over 3 months, a little bit at a time, break it down. Yeah. And so what I'll do is the first thing we kind of, first 3-hour session, PQ, what's that about? Let's start to think about it. Stuff we've just gone through. Let's get the mindset sorted. Let's think about how sales evolve. Let's go through I do a little kind of history lesson, pick out the bits we still want, bin the bits we don't, think of profile of a modern salesperson. That is what you guys are working on. That is where we're going on the rest of this journey, next 3 months. Okay, then the next one, we come to the V, the validate. Validate's the first part of the value process I take people through.
Of course.
Okay, we'll do a little bit of traditional qualification. It's still got to make commercial sense. You still got to look to see if your solution fits. You've still got to do those things. Ain't got a problem with that.
But guess what?
However,
Technology
don't
like
stop
mine does
there.
that for you. You don't even have to think about that anymore. Like, that's the
I
thing.
thought you might agree with this, but that's what I'm saying is, you can do your BANT, your MEDIC, your reBANT, your Scotsman, your whatever set of Scrabble letters you want. Actually, I'm not going to decry that. They are still important. Where you power up, it is using stuff like you say. But even before we get to yours, I'll be saying, look, it takes two to tango. So let's start trying to psychologically qualify. Let's just think about, how are they to work with? Because we're going to try and collaborate with them. We want to work more closely, more with them, put them at the center of what we're doing. If they aren't going to accept that, if they don't do that when they sell, they're a bunch of idiots. If they're, whatever reason that we don't think we're going to knit, well, okay. So we look some clues. Now, of course, if we want to totally power that up and blast straight through it, we call you, don't we? And you say, well, I can actually prove that and say, and here is the person that you speak to.
Certainty in
So
sales and automatic identification of opportunities that fit at a psychographic level. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, by the way, I meant to say real quick, all of the Americans out there and the people who are listening in Latin countries or Israel, I just want to say that when he says plane, he's not talking about the thing that flies. He's English. When he says plane, that means a sales team. Okay.
No, plane. Airplane.
Plane. Oh, no?
A plane. And that plane's
You
an
were talking
airplane.
about because people refer to them in the UK that I work with all the time that planes are sales teams. Like I've got
Planes are
2
sales teams. I
planes.
never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about a plane. No, when I'm not on a plane anymore, it means I'm not an aircraft. I'm not getting.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Not
Yeah,
getting me
refer
little
to
bag of
like
pretzels and gin and tonics.
South England that they refer to sales teams as planes. Some of them.
Ah, okay. No. I'm no. I'd say team. Or in Spain, equipo.
For
Show
sure.
off.
I didn't mean to interrupt the whole thing. We were getting somewhere good on that. Back to it though, is that
So it is. We take it. We'll do. And if you think about what I've done there, we go with there's the traditional stuff. We still need it, but let's take it. Let's power it up. Let's advance ourselves. Let's augment ourselves, and then really let's use the stuff that can take it even further.
And it's making those tiny changes.
How deep people want to take that?
It creates the comfort in the change too, because you're taking something that you're used to and then slowly manipulating it to get there, instead of making that vast change just like boom, turn on the faucet, let's see what happens, let's hope that it holds.
Move it up a level. I mean, let's crack on through the process if you want. So yeah, then we go. So the A for align, right? You've got to do your homework. You can't just rock up at somebody's office. You can't just go and talk to them. So you do a bit of alignment. So you do a bit of, start off nice and basic. Yeah. So where do we think we can add value? Yeah. Might as well start with that. Might well be wrong. We're gonna have to go and find that out, because we're not the ones that define value. Customer is.
Totally normal.
But we need to at least have a bit of an idea. Cool. Then let's think about the people who are going to be involved. Yep, it's more than 2. Really? I know 2. Yes, well, it's going to be more than them. We know the numbers are going up. Let's really start thinking about how we're going to map decision-making unit, buying committee.
The numbers are going up. It's
let's work that out.
An average of 11 influencers involved in any enterprise level deal, and it's going to be 5 to 7 in a mid-market company.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago we were talking about 5.6. Which I always thought, what's 0.6 per person? What is that?
They've got like a little.
But yeah, but the numbers have gone up. That's it. That's that guy, and he's really important. Don't miss out on him. No, so we do that, so we can take it. So let's think what value's going to look like. Let's start doing our homework. Let's think about DMUs. And again, if you want to take that really deep and how you map it and the information you get on them, more the better. Again, that's, I guess, where you guys will step in and go, we can help you get deeper, Fred. How deep do you want to go?
What do they call that process?
So in the way I would train it, the first part is validate. The second part is align. Because I want you to align the stuff that I can do in the people.
The key stakeholders, decision makers, influencers, and all that, not just doing a unidirectional approach. What do they call it when you're reaching out to multiple people and having those conversations with different stakeholders?
So I start off, I'd call it mapping the decision-making unit. And then depending on talking to, I sometimes talk about bow ties and diamonds. I don't know if you use that terminology.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. The term is multi-threading.
Okay, right, yeah. Yeah, so multi-thread. Oh, that's the diamond. That's the diamond where we've got, rather than just you in the center, bow tie, and the salesperson. Everything comes through me because it makes me powerful. It's like, be more the orchestra conductor. Get everyone talking to who we need to. But you can't do that if you don't know who they are.
Right.
Yeah. We move into the leverage piece. So the leverage, it's like leveraging that information, leveraging the info that we've done our homework on to start to have decent conversations with people.
Could you imagine?
Some stage I know, it's so old-fashioned, aren't I? You know what? We're not going to throw that out. We're not going to throw out, and a lot of this good stuff about how you have good sort of conversations with people. No, it's the same. I don't know if it's on a recorded bit when I was saying to you, I'm going to send you how to win friends and influence people. That still makes a lot of sense, understanding what makes people tick, all that kind of stuff, and being able to do it face to face, over a call, over Zoom, whatever. We need to do that. We need to do that really well. That will hopefully, and we're doing it all those different levels, there's multi-threads, to the point where we can start to build a proposal. Not quote. I get really excited when people talk about quotes because that's just a part number of the price. It's like, no, this is why you should buy from us.
When you total your car or get into a car accident, they give you a quote, and then it's never right.
Yeah,
it's just never right.
It's a proposal. It's got information. Why should I buy from you? I mean, more and more so. I mean, I used to be saying, you've got to give me a bloody good reason not to be writing a proposal. The only real reason I'd accept is that you don't really want the business. Now I'm coming stronger and stronger down. The proposal has to have an implementation plan in. And if the implementation plan is going to be any good, it's actually going to be looking more like a mutual action plan. So really, we need to be starting to think, and again, certainly the more complex, the more enterprise sales, the ones we're talking about with more people involved, why would you not be putting one of those together? Because this is a massive chance to differentiate on the way you sell. Because probably what you're selling is going to be very, very similar to everyone else, but it's the experience of this person gets me, this person wants to help me, they've got my back, I feel safe. Back to that one. We'd want to be including that sort of stuff in it. if Tom Williams or Kevin Dixon listen to this, they will get really excited. I didn't call it outcome enablement plan, which is fine. You know, for me, same sort of thing. But look, I don't care what you call it, just do it. Do whatever the customer feels comfortable with. Show them these are the steps we're going to go through. A close is in there somewhere. Doesn't stop at that. We move on beyond that because it's actually helping you get those outcomes. And then the last part is it's about a process, or it's a frame. I don't like process. I tend to talk framework because you can put whatever elements you want into a framework. A process.
Yeah, a process is
maybe I get a bit too
something that
semantic
you
on it.
just do and follow, right? And that's why I don't like calling it the sales process. The sales process is the data entry, the CRM management, and hygiene, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I like calling it a sales structure because there's wiggle. You can move about the entire building. You just don't want to walk out of it. You want to keep them in there, but let them shop how they need to shop to figure out if they want to buy the property.
Yeah, I tend to refer to framework. So yeah, similar kind of thing, because you are going backwards and forwards and you hang bits in. And some people, they might say, you know what, we don't need to go full on mutual action plan. Yeah, I get it. Okay, that's fine. So we won't put that bit into the framework. This one, yes, we're slotting it in. So it's pretty cool with companies and people who can then work out what goes into their into that framework. It's a bit like a chocolate box, isn't it? And you've got the little spaces and you can decide which bits you put in and fill it full of your favorite flavors. God,
Right.
why wouldn't you? Let's put that in. Why? Who likes it? It's only get thrown away. Well, okay, let's not put it in then. Let's put a bit more of the stuff that we do like. So that's kind of how I would take people through stuff. It's, again, remember, started off with that collaborative mindset, because all the things that we're doing, whatever technique, and I can go down into all the techniques if you've got 12 weeks. Well, no, it's only 12 weeks because little bit, go away and do it. A little bit, go away and do it. A little bit, go away and do it. And in some ways, having said it's not a process, in some ways it is a process, because we're going through it in this kind of sequential way that people can take a bit, apply it, put it into an enablement platform, buyer enablement platform, to be driving real sales through. So the proof is in the pudding, in that you are making sales while you are selling.
Yeah.
Sorry, while you're learning, making sales while you're selling.
I hope you're making sales while you're selling.
You're selling while you're learning. You're making sales while you're selling. God, Fred, you're amazing. We're all going to sign up for making sales while you're selling.
You got you're hired. I make sales while I'm selling. That's ultimate line to say in an interview.
Amazing.
That's too funny.
Please don't title the podcast that.
So we're running out of time, but I would like to touch one more subject before we go. And what do you define as sales enablement?
What do I define as sales enablement?
What is sales enablement to you, is another way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's anything that helps a salesperson sell better. I don't want to get too complicated on this. I'm a simple person, you know? If you are enabling me to sell, that is sales enablement. So if you can help me do it better, if you gave me a bit of paper with some hints and tips on to talk about with a customer that you know really well and I've not met, that's sales enablement.
I love how you went down the simple. You're like, I'm a simple man. It's just enabling sales. People overthink it and they push it way, way, way too far and too complicated. If my definition is a pretty precise definition, because I'm a man of precision. It's kind of,
I know this.
But what it is that you are giving the sales team the tools and the resources that they need to do their job effectively and efficiently, but mostly effectively. And that's the point.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm happy
with
that.
So many people say, oh, yeah, no, sales enablement. They have a sales enablement division. They have absolutely no budget for it. They have absolutely no plan. And they're still doing the same shit they were doing before. Why is the sales enablement division in that company when they're not enabling shit? They're enabling a headache for everybody else because no one's listening to them.
I like that. Your definition is simple enough for me. Yes, I'll adopt that one. Happy with that. Yeah, efficient and effective, but more effective. I would always come down the side of effectiveness, because efficient, yeah, we can speed up doing the wrong thing, but if effective is about making sure we're doing the right things.
Right. And I would say this. This is how I put effectiveness and efficiency on the table to explain it to someone in a really, really euphemized way. That, let's say the objective. You need to run 1 mile down the street or someone's going to stab you in the face. That gives you a lot of incentive. Hell yeah, you're going to run a mile. But let's say you're really, really good at running. You can run on a treadmill. And if you ran a mile, you can run a mile in like 15 seconds. Oh, not 15 seconds, but less than a minute and 50 seconds. You are fast as all hell. But the thing is, would you be on the treadmill? The treadmill is like some automation system that just is really, really efficient, and they're using it, and they're running on the treadmill, and they've gone almost 2 miles. Yet, guess what? Their 10-minute time frame's up after they went about 4 miles and they get stabbed in the face because, sure, they ran 4 miles, but they didn't actually go anywhere. They ran 4 miles, but they haven't been displaced. The objective is to displace yourself 1 mile to the goal. So the person who was just jogging slowly ends up winning because guess what? They were jogging on the street. They made it to the objective. They displaced their body from this place to that place. So that's effectiveness. You effectively walked on a street to get to the objective. Meanwhile, the track star who's on the treadmill ran 4 miles with extreme efficiency. They're not even tired, yet they still got stabbed in the face because there was no effectiveness. There was simply only efficiency.
Yeah. We could take the analogy and kick the arse out of it a little bit further and go, do you know, if we were really, really clever, we'd be doing something to make sure you weren't even on that street where there are people that stab you in the face. And we're putting you on a street where you can actually sit down, have a nice cold beer, watch the world go by, and generally have a good crack.
Right.
Now we're really talking, you know? And again, you know, we can go in and say, I can make you run faster, I can get you. Well, I can do the latter. Well, guess which salesperson's going to win? It's the travel agent salesperson, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. I love it.
But yeah, so it's helping. No, and it can be, you know, some really spangly stuff. But again, you can have this really spangly platform where things go in and it does things and it lights stuff up and it will all kind of. But actually, if I don't use it, well, it's worthless anyway. And if I do use it, but actually that bit of paper where that vital piece of information was going to help me get the sale anyway, well, that's better. And am I going to miss out on that just because I get so consumed with having all this spangly stuff that we kind of miss sometimes that the good old basic things are what's going to help us, it's going to enable us to make more sales?
Yes.
That's kind of how I looked at it anyway.
Yes. It's oh man, the amount of disappointment I have in the sales industry is absolutely it's disheartening, but at the same time, that's why I'm here. That's why you're here. Got to fix it.
Yeah, it's funny. It depends what mood we're in. I can get really cynical, really kind of tired, and really kind of, oh, what's the point, you know? But then other times I get massively energized and go, there's so much we can do, and there are so many people that will accept the advice that helps. A bad word, don't like to use the word help, but you know, the ways in which they can improve, and it's massively fulfilling when they do.
Where I get when you work with someone who coachability is such a desired trait where if you're not coachable, then you're not going to have a job. You're not going to make it that far because if you're just only going to listen to yourself, then okay. Have you ever talked to yourself to solve a problem that you didn't know the answer to? How well is that going to work? You have to either look it up on the internet, talk to somebody, ask someone to help you. It's impossible.
And the one that really gets me is, and that's why I go back to those challenges. And I always start with busy, 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 because it's the one that you see first, where people sometimes, I tend not to work with people like this now because I've made that decision. But, you know, in the past, I've had training hostages, you know, kind of forced to be on training, and they sat there all hostage going, oh, I'm too busy for this. Right. Okay,
they're not going to retain a single piece of that information.
Yeah, it's a shame,
they will
really,
remember.
that you're
They'll
not
remember how much time it took and how much it sucked.
Self-management and the bits that I'm about to help you save so much time, but you're not going to do it, so you're not going to save time. And I just think, oh, you know, these people are being given stuff on a plate and are not accepting it. That really frustrates me because there are other people that say, we want training, we want stuff, we want to get better. People aren't giving them it. So it's another reason why I kind of package the stuff I do.
Unless they decide to change, and that is a fact. You cannot change somebody, they change themselves. You can plant a seed for them to think of it, but it needs to be their idea, their initiative, their desire, their choice. Ultimately, like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Oh, that is so applicable in so many situations that we'll come across. But the guys that do, I say it's a real pleasure, and it's massively fulfilling. And you see these guys flying, it's just brilliant.
Absolutely. So, I've had the opportunity to do the same for people as well, and it's a beautiful thing when you see someone spread their wings and fly. They started out as a little chick, didn't even have any feathers, just little kind of like hairy looking little chubby thing, and then just cheaping, and then it's just, you know, they get to the point where they got their nice whistle and they fly away.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
That's it.
But anyway, we're good here, Fred. So this is the end of the podcast. I know that was kind of abrupt, but Fred, I want to thank you so much for coming. It was always a lot of fun speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to more with you because you're a fun guy who's got a lot of opinions that I really like to poke at. It's fun.
And likewise, I was being well behaved because it was your podcast. When you come on mine, which
Well
you've
behaved. Did you not
already
read the
slagged
thing?
off, by the way, because it does have a formula.
Did you not read the thing though? If so, it says so. Anybody. So this is a little fun little bonus thing too. I guess there's lots of bonuses this episode, but this is part of my podcast sign up. If you are uncomfortable with any of the following: swearing, sarcasm, or crude humor, tell us now or forever hold your peace. So Rob knows what to avoid. This goes both ways. So what comes around goes around, and then a winky face.
No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So
It was
there's an
just a
opt-in for like
formulaic podcast.
vulgarity, right? Because it's raw. It doesn't matter. But most of the episodes are explicit. I think only 2 ever released were clean. So, what's the fun without?
No, it's not that. I've got no problem with that. I'm a rugby player, mate. No, it's that you said podcasts that have a set formula are boring and dusty. Mine does.
My set formula is that there's an opening with an introduction and an ending with a closeout. And there's a subject. There's a defined subject or
a subject.
Yeah, right. So
it works. It works. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic evening when this airs, or now that you're listening to it. I hope you enjoyed it. Fred's a very interesting guy. Fred, if there's a way to get in touch with you, what would be the best way?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn's always the banker. Connect with me on that. Mention the podcast. Yeah, so that you'd heard us
and what
chatting away about stuff.
As well as, what is your website?
So Brindis, Brindis, which is Spanish for a toast, as in cheers. So yeah, you can find me on that. But you can connect. There's link. I've got loads of websites because I've got a book website and a whatever website and a something else website. So the link tree on LinkedIn will take you off down a rabbit hole, so to speak.
Oh, I love rabbit holes. This is down the rabbit hole right now. Right. But yeah, well, I guess I already said it. This is Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm your host, Rob Turley, and we had our special featured guest, Fred Copestake, on the call today. Appreciate everybody listening. And this was brought to you by White Rabbit Intel, so you can know more, win more, and close often. Sales enablement, artificial intelligence that will help you kick ass. So yeah, it's a great thing. And thank you so much for listening. Have a good night. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Down the Rabbit Hole podcast for new episodes weekly on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, and YouTube. If you'd like to apply to be featured on the podcast or recommend a featured guest, please feel free to email us at theteam@whiterabbitintel.com.